In a world where faith is mocked and success is worshipped, one man stood up to tell Hollywood the truth. Denzel Washington.
I'm up here to say thank you to God for giving me this ability, for blessing me, for shaping me, for chastising me, for teaching me, for punishing me, for allowing me to be a vessel and touch people around the world.
Denzel Washington is known for his incredible roles in films like Training Day and Fences. He's a respected actor, a household name, and someone who has achieved a lot in Hollywood. But beyond the fame, there's something that sets him apart from his public faith. While most stars hide their faith out of fear of ridicule, Denzel spoke unapologetically about God, openly shaming Hollywood.
Put God first. Put God first in everything you do. Everything that you think you see in me, everything that I've accomplished, everything that you think I have, and I have a few things, everything that I have is by the grace of God.
As his career grew, Denzel's wife introduced him to the values of hard work, humility, love, and, most importantly, spirituality and faith. He believes that much of his success and inner peace come from his deep connection with God. As he became famous, he always knew it wouldn't define him. Instead, it was his faith and spirituality that guided his actions and choices, both in his personal life and on screen.
40 years of forgiveness. She taught me about faith, spirituality, love, real love, unwavering love, in spite of myself. I would not be alive without Pauletta Washington. I wouldn't be alive.
Here, Denzel Washington talks about how prayer is the only real solution in tough situations. He acknowledges that it's easy to pass judgment on others when things go wrong, or when we don't fully understand what someone is going through. It's not about having all the answers or figuring things out on our own. It's about taking a step back, seeking guidance, and showing compassion. Prayer, in his view, is a way to seek God's wisdom and perspective during challenging times, offering clarity and peace. It's a reminder that, through God's grace, we can navigate life's struggles with humility and understanding.
There, but for the grace of God, go any of us. Yeah. You know, who are we to condemn? You know, I don't know all the ins and outs of the situation, but I know the only solution was prayer. The way I saw it,
He always felt like his life had a deeper purpose. It wasn't just about performing or getting attention. He believed he was here to show God's power, wisdom, grace, and mercy through everything he did. Every decision and action felt like part of something bigger than himself. Life was all about reflecting God's goodness, sharing his blessings, and showing others what God's love looked like in everyday life. For him, it was about being a reflection of his Creator, not just existing for himself.
I wasn't put on this earth to act. I was put on this earth to share and to be an example of the power and wisdom and grace and mercy of God in my life.
One morning, he was sitting alone on a yacht, leaving him with a moment of stillness to connect with God. He spent that time praying, reading his Bible, and reflecting. He felt a strong urge to ask God for something personal. I know others have seen your face, but I want to see it too.
If anything, if I can be an example, I was sitting on a yacht listening to a song called The Face of God. And nobody was up. I was in my prayer, meditation, reading my Bible. And I'm like, Lord, everybody can see your face. I want to see it. While I said it, when I said, I want to see your face, I heard, look to your left.
The moment he said that, he felt like God was telling him to look to his left. Without thinking, he grabbed his phone and took a picture. When he looked at it, it felt like God had answered him at that very moment, as though God was right there, listening and showing that he was present in his life. He was always there for him.
I want to see it. While I said it, when I said, I want to see your face, I heard, look to your left. So I looked to my left, and I looked, and I picked up my phone, and I went, shh.
He continued by referencing 1 Corinthians 13:12 from the Bible. which says, "For now, we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face." He used this verse to explain a powerful experience he had where he saw something so enormous and overwhelming that it felt like looking at a massive boat. He described the edge of the boat and the rail, emphasizing how vast and beyond understanding the sight was. This was a real, direct encounter with something divine for him. He explained that in life, we often only get partial glimpses of the truth, much like looking through a foggy or dark mirror. But as the verse says, one day, everything will be revealed clearly, face to face, with no barriers between us and the divine. He was sharing how this experience was so real and powerful for him, something that deeply connected him to God and shifted his entire perspective on life.
The Bible says we will see like through a mirror darkly, but then face to face. So now it says we will see like through a mirror darkly, but then face to face. Now, what you don't realize looking at that is that it seemed to be about a mile wide.
Yeah, because this
It was
is
huge.
massive.
You could see the edge of the boat. You see the rail of the boat I'm
Yeah,
on?
on the oh, okay, that's massive.
Yes.
Looking back, he could see how God had guided him every step of the way. He realized that the times when things were tough and when he needed correction were all part of God's plan to help him grow. He saw God's protection in his life and how every blessing, no matter how small, was a reminder of God's presence. Every day felt like a gift from God, and with a heart full of gratitude, he promised never to take a single day for granted. He knew that it was God's guidance that had shaped his life, and that it would continue to lead him moving forward.
I've been blessed. I've been disciplined. I've been checked. I've been protected. I've been directed. And I appreciate every day that I wake up. And I will give thanks to the Lord every day for the rest of my days.
Here, he was just being honest and letting people know that everything good in his life came from God. He wasn't acting like he did it all on his own, and it wasn't just about him. He wanted to let everyone know that if they put God first in their own lives, that's when things would start to fall into place for them too.
Because the gratification, the goodness that comes to you, the good feeling that I get from helping others, nothing's better than that. Well, one or two things, but nothing's better than that. Not jewelry, not big house I have, not the cars, but it's the joy. That's where the joy is, in helping others. That's where the success is, in helping others.
He said, sure, people might see success, money, and recognition, but none of it happened just because he was talented or worked harder than anyone else. It all happened because God made it possible. He made it clear that without God, he wouldn't have had any of it. That was the message he was trying to get across.
Everything that you think you see in me, everything that I've accomplished, everything that you think I have, and I have a few things, everything that I have is by the grace of God. Understand that.
He talked about how God stayed with him through everything, even when he didn't always make the best choices. He admitted that he wasn't perfect, but he said God never turned his back on him. He explained how keeping God close helped him stay on track and avoid getting distracted by the wrong things. He even emphasized that having God at the center of his life made all the difference.
I've been protected, I've been directed, I've been corrected. I've kept God in my life and it's kept me humble. I didn't always stick with him, but he always stuck with me.
That's what allowed him to keep moving forward, even when life got tough. He shared that without God's guidance and strength, he wouldn't have made it to where he is today. He was just being straightforward, saying that God is the reason he's had the success and opportunities that came his way.
So stick with him in everything you do. If you think you want to do what you think I've done, then do what I've done and stick with God.
He was saying that when you had a real desire for something good, it was God showing you that it was already meant for you. He encouraged you to thank God in advance for what was coming, even if it hadn't shown up yet, because it was already in the works. The desire you felt in your heart was God's way of indicating that what you wanted was already set to happen.
Say thank you in advance for what is already yours. True desire in the heart for anything good is God's proof to you sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already. I'll say it again. True desire in the heart, that itch that you have, whatever it is you want to do, that thing that you want to do to help others and to grow and to make money, that desire, that itch, that's God's proof to you, sent beforehand already to indicate that it's yours. And anything you want good, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. When you get it, reach back. Pull someone else up. Each one, teach one. Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
It was as if God was giving you a heads up that your dreams were already on the way. Instead of waiting for it to happen, he suggested showing gratitude right away, knowing that it was already part of God's plan for you. It was about trusting that everything would fall into place, even when you couldn't see it yet.
I'll say it again. True desire in the heart, that itch that you have, whatever it is you want to do, that thing that you want to do to help others and to grow and to make money, that desire, that itch, that's God's proof to you, sent beforehand already to indicate that it's yours.
Denzel really opened up about his relationship with God. He shared how he made a real promise, not just to live a good life, but to honor his parents and follow what God asked of him. It was about staying grounded and doing what was right in God's eyes.
I made a promise to her and to God to do, not just to do good the right way, but to honor my mother and my father by the way I live my life the rest of my days on this earth. I'm here to serve, to help, to provide. In every prayer, you know, the ego's interesting, you just don't know. But in every prayer, all I hear is feed my sheep.
Every time he prayed, it wasn't about asking for awards or more fame. He said what he kept hearing was simple: feed my sheep. That meant living to help others, staying humble, and using whatever blessings he had to serve. He made it clear that his life was shaped by faith and obedience. Even when the world around him praised fame and ego, Denzel kept his focus on what God wanted from him.
In every prayer, you know, the ego's interesting, you just don't know. But in every prayer, all I hear is feed my sheep. That's what God wants me to do. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what does that mean?
He was saying that the only way to really live a fulfilling life was by keeping God at the center of it all. He humbled himself, reminding everyone that he was just human, with flaws and imperfections like anyone else. He wasn't trying to be a role model or a figure for people to blindly follow. Instead, he pointed to God as the true source of everything, the one who gave him strength, purpose, and direction.
Feet on the ground, so that unit, that family, I didn't do it by myself. I couldn't have done it, obviously, without my mother. I couldn't have done it without my wife. I couldn't have done it without my children. Who teaches you to be a man? You know, but fame is a monster.
He made it clear that no matter what he had achieved, none of it would have kept him here for even one more day without God's will. It was about being humble, understanding that his time here was limited, and trusting in God to guide his steps. Without that connection to God, nothing else truly matters.
You know, and we all have these ladders of battles, roads we have to walk in our given lives.
To wrap it up, he's reminding us that life's bigger than we realize, and we're all just following God's lead. Even when things seem out of control, God knows the way. It's about trusting him and accepting that his plan is what truly guides us.
So the Lord knows where we're headed, and only God knows where we're headed. So we're being forced to deal with powers higher than ourselves, whether we like it or not.
So what was most important to him was what was happening inside, and he just wanted to make sure his heart and mind were in the right place and that he was doing things for the right reasons, staying true to his faith and purpose.
The film or my performance, my concern was the inside, making sure I had the right spirit, and that I was going to be about God's business, not just Malcolm X's business.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video.